Welcome, Crystal.
Hi.
Crystal, such a pleasure. So fond of your work and really glad we're getting to connect.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here and to talk. I love talking e-commerce. So
Good news. You're going to talk e-commerce. I think, as an emerging brand, why don't we give you the floor for 3 to 4 minutes to really do your comic book #1 origin story, even if you want to take it to what kind of girl you were growing up and then how you got into the business and what's happened over here the last couple of years.
yeah, so growing up, I was exactly how I am now. Like straight, direct, knowing what I want, knowing what I wanted to fix. I always believe that there's a solution for everything in the world except death, but I don't know yet because I didn't get there yet. So I've always been the same, but fast forwarding to just how I ended up to like what I'm doing now, it really is just built up from frustration from the time that I was 11 years old of having my period. And it just built up. Like every month we experience this from the time that it starts from 9 years old all the way through your 50s and, decades and just decades of it. And then I also had a daughter who was a competitive swimmer, and just seeing like the way parents were treating their kids, like just to get in the water, like to win a prize or a scholarship, like beating them over the head, like to put a tampon in. And then just one day I literally was just there. And I was just aggravated with the sanitary pad, like the wings, and just the whole experience of it. I wasn't even doing anything. To this day, people ask me all the time, like, what was I thinking about? I don't even know what I was thinking about at that moment. I just knew that it just hit me that this is just disgusting, like with the wings hanging out. It wasn't cute, and it was nothing that I could do about it. And in that split second is when I was like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna make something to make it better for myself and for my daughter. And then after there is just, I just went full on.
What impacted you from an entrepreneurship standpoint over the last decade? Who, what, how did, what did you look at and say, okay, yes, I can, or, ooh, that gets me hyped, or how do you, because I think you're perfect for the huge subset here that is looking to get entrepreneurial. So I'd like to just get into double click into the psyche there. Like, did you see somebody doing something 7 years ago? Like any anecdotes, any details that might help people maybe connect to what they're seeing out there?
Yeah, so I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. Like I said, I always believe that there's a solution for everything. Crazy to believe I really don't have I never have any mentors or anything like that. If you ask me who I look up to, I literally look up to like Oprah and Sarah Blakely. Those are the two people,
those are two beasts.
Oh, absolutely. They are monsters. Like they're an engine there. So those are the two people that I've always just admired, like their business sense of what they did, for two separate reasons. Just Oprah, just being like in the, like where
Sure.
she came from. Yes. And then Sarah Blakely, like to this day, she doesn't have any investors, and I actually got to meet her. So it's just, those two people are like, I would say like my role models, I would say, but I haven't had any mentors, anything. I just always was an entrepreneur at heart, believing that everything in the world has a solution to it. Like you just gotta like figure it out and get to it and get to the bottom line. And as long as you have like the energy to do that, you can solve anything.
Crystal, a couple questions for you. Love the growth you've had. I'd love for the audience to understand, what did you plan for in those first 3 years? What did you, versus what you achieved? And then talk to us from a marketing standpoint. What did you do?
So when I first started, I started the company in 2015, but the first sales and everything of doing anything really is not until 2016. So I just formed the company in 2015. But 2016, it was on. I really literally just wanted to honestly just make a product for myself and my daughter. Sell just a couple of them. But once I had put the website up, I had no background in marketing or anything at all. I had complete business operations. So I knew how to run a business because that was my career, like being a controller and running a business. So I had that, which is a big plus, Yeah. So, but marketing, I had none of. So I had to really like dig deep and figure out like what I would want as, like, what would I want? Like, what would I want to see? And I had to take myself back like a few months before that. And what I realized is that I wanted information. Like I wanted information, like what was going to make things better for me, what was going to make things better for my daughter. And that's what I gave off to my customers. My customer, who I thought my customer was going to be, is completely different to this day.
How
Even
so?
when I
How so?
Oh, completely. I thought it was going to be like young girls, like millennials. Like millennials hate our product. They hate it. Like our product is like a little thicker and things like that. So it actually became, which I'm happy, it actually became the customer that I am. It was for a mom that wanted to protect her daughter. And then she's then spent all these years of wearing tampons, inserting foreign objects into her body, realizing that she has medical issues, fibroids, all sorts of issues that people cannot wear tampons or cups. And then when she gets in her 30s, she realizes, like after she buys it for her daughter, like, wait, my body's important too. And then now I want to try something different. So that is our customer right now, which is a mom with a teen or tween. And, you know, these young girls are starting puberty as early as 9 years old, where they're not able to even wear a tampon or insert a foreign object into their body. And that's one thing that a mom cannot help their daughter with. Like that's one thing we can't, you got to brace your body to do it. And it just went on from there, like as far as like with our customer base. And that's still our customer base to this day.
Crystal, when it's really fascinating. So two things. One, the fact that who your intended audience wasn't who ended up buying. And then who ended up buying bought it for someone else, and then they bought it for themselves. How do you market for that? How do you position your product for that? So when someone goes to your site or you email them or whatnot, how do you know that they're buying for someone else first and then for themselves? And how do you kind of promote that?
So when I first started, I used to speak to the customers. For the first 6 months, it was just me, like running the company. But even to this day, like when they email and things that they say, it's always my daughter, my niece, my daughter, my daughter. So that's when you realize like, okay, like who you're speaking to, like what they're saying. Like before our customers say anything, whether it's bad or good, we know exactly what's going to come out of their mouth before they even like say it, because they all say the same exact thing. It's different people, but it's like the same person all in one. It's like the weirdest thing ever. But as far as like marketing to them, I didn't spend $1 of marketing until like about a year and a half ago. Everything was basically SEO, organic. We grew basically word of mouth for the people that love us. I would say that 95% of our customers love us, 5% hate us altogether. But that 95% is extremely strong. Like they are happy that they are able to give their daughter information. Like our first period kit is our #1 item that sells. And it's basically a parent giving their daughter information in a way that she can understand instead of when she was like 9, 10 getting it. So as far as giving them information, we basically did it through SEO. And like I said, I didn't spend not one red cent on marketing dollars until about a year and a half ago.
Good for you. Crystal, what's your favorite, you're like me, executor in the trenches, no budget. Like that's how I started my career. And then it evolved into me being good at it all the times. You said SEO. Is there anything that's popping for you right now that you're excited about that's also underpriced?
No, since what is underpriced is our marketing, because we learned our customer. So I think that's very important for people to know.
What about tactic? I understand. I apologize. That I understand. What in the marketing, like tactically, to help somebody right now, direct execution, small influencers, LinkedIn, pre-roll YouTube, like double click into that for me.
Yeah, so we've never, until about like 3 weeks ago, we never used any influencers. We never used any paid review sites, didn't even have media until last year, like PR, which doesn't bring in money anyway, but PR last year. We really didn't do any of those things. It basically was our customer and being there for them, like in giving them the information. So the tactic that we use now would be just to tap into that audience and which is what we're still in the process of doing, like tapping into that audience and showing them and giving them what they want. So we're just kind of like taking like what I started, which got us to where we are, where I was able to bootstrap it to $10 million, like for 2.5 years, and just escalate that even further now. Like now that we've closed a round and we're able to do like massive advertising and things like that. But if the good thing about the company now is that even if we were to stop advertising today, the company would still go on. Not as fast, but it would still move on and still grow.
CaaStle, I just want to tell you this one thing. I so deeply admire you. You don't even know. I see myself in you so much, and you're a very important voice. A very, very important voice.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Zubin?
CaaStle, final question for you.
We need to wrap because we're gonna run out of time. I apologize, Zubin. We're at buzzer. I apologize. I'm the worst. Sorry, CaaStle. I love you. Go ahead, Zubin. Wrap us up and get us to the next guest.
Awesome. CaaStle, we'll have you on Coffee and Commerce to continue this conversation.
Sure,
Perfect.
okay.
Perfect.